What if wealth wasn't earned, but tuned into? What if money was a frequency, already flowing, already abundant, waiting for you to hear it, feel it, become it? This is not a book about working harder. This is about remembering what was once whispered into your soul. Before the first coin was cast, before banks, before paper bills and balance sheets, there was frequency, vibration, energy, resonance. The universe, in all its vast silence, is a symphony. And money is one of its instruments. When you strike the right chord within yourself, wealth responds, not with effort, but with inevitability. You were not born to chase money. You were born to attract it effortlessly, to walk as a living magnet aligned with the sacred codes of abundance. The issue isn't that money is hard to find. It's that most people are tuned to the wrong station, static scarcity, doubt. But there exists a frequency, the billionaire frequency, that transcends strategies and surpasses circumstances. It vibrates far above need, far above limitation. It's the wavelength of creation, circulation, and unstoppable flow. Those we call billionaires, true architects of wealth, have unknowingly or deliberately attuned themselves to this vibration, not through hustle alone, but through subconscious alignment, identity calibration, and energetic consistency. This is not a book of rules. This is a transmission, a field, a remembrance. Through the chapters ahead, you will reawaken ancient codes buried beneath fear and failure. You'll learn to resonate with limitless wealth, not just intellectually, but energetically, emotionally, and biologically. This frequency cannot be taught, but it can be felt, and once felt, it cannot be unfelt. Tune in now. Money has already heard your signal. It's only a matter of time before it answers. Chapter 1. The Static of Scarcity. Why You've Been Tuned to Lack. In a narrow alley of a weathered city, a boy named Elias once carried a cracked radio. He would turn its dial endlessly, hoping for music. But all he heard was static. Sometimes a flicker of melody broke through, only to be swallowed again by noise. He kept listening, believing that if he persisted long enough, the right station would emerge. Yet years passed, and the boy grew into a man who accepted static as sound. He thought this distortion was life. He thought this was all he could have. This story is your own. The world has handed you a radio at birth, its dial already set to scarcity. Before you spoke your first words, you were bathed in the frequencies of fear. Parents argued over bills. Teachers spoke of limited opportunities. Society praised the virtue of sacrifice. You were told, life is hard. Money is harder. Only the few are chosen. And like Elias, you mistook the noise for reality. You mistook static for truth. Scarcity is not the absence of money. Scarcity is a distortion field, an inherited soundtrack that convinces you there is never enough. It seeps into your language, words like expensive, risky, unrealistic. It laces your feelings with doubt each time you desire more. It pulls you back when you try to leap. Scarcity is not what the world lacks. Scarcity is what your mind repeats. But static can be retuned. Wealth is not biased. It is not cruel nor selective. Wealth is vibration. It flows where resonance exists. When you are tuned to fear, wealth passes by unheard, unseen. When you are tuned to abundance, money becomes inevitable. Not because you earned harder, but because you aligned clearer. Elias once met an old traveler who saw his radio. The man smiled and said, "The music has always been there. The problem is not the radio. The problem is the station you've chosen." The words shattered something inside Elias. He realized he had never questioned the noise. He had never considered that sound and silence were choices, not destiny. That very night he turned his dial again, but this time with intention, with curiosity, with trust. And for the first time he heard the beginning of a song. So must you. Close your eyes tonight. Place your hand on your chest and ask, what am I broadcasting? Notice the subtle currents: fear, guilt, resentment, longing. These are the static fields. These are the distortions. You cannot shift them by ignoring them. You shift them by hearing them, by realizing that the noise is not you. You are not scarcity. You are the one holding the dial. And the moment you turn it, the song of wealth begins. Chapter 2. The Ancient Wealth Code in Your DNA. Long before coins clinked in markets, before vaults, before paper and plastic, wealth was not counted. It was felt. Tribes gathered beneath starlit skies and trusted the earth to provide. They sang for rain, and rain fell. They planted seeds, and crops blossomed. They shared fire, food, and shelter without fear of depletion. Abundance was rhythm, not competition. It was not earned, it was remembered. In your very cells lies this remembrance. Your DNA is not only the map of your body, it is the library of your lineage. Stored in its spirals are echoes of those who lived in trust, who walked in harmony with provision, who understood wealth as nature itself. Modern science whispers of epigenetics, memories carried not just in mind, but in blood. The famine your ancestors endured may still whisper, not enough. The betrayals they suffered may still whisper, trust no one. Yet hidden beneath those scars is a deeper memory, older still, the memory of abundance. You are not simply your struggles, you are also your inheritance of wisdom. Imagine your DNA as scrolls of golden light, each twist containing codes of provision. When you say, I am worthy of wealth, you awaken them. When you feel gratitude without reason, you activate them. When you walk in the certainty that money is inevitable, you switch them on. Your body listens to your beliefs. Your nervous system calibrates to your frequency. And wealth responds not to what you do, but to who you are being. Elias, once trapped in static, discovered this by accident. After meeting the traveler, he dreamed of his ancestors. They stood in fields untouched by fear, smiling as though they carried secrets he had forgotten. One placed a hand upon his chest and whispered, "You do not chase abundance. You are abundance." When Elias awoke, he felt warmth coursing through his veins, as though every cell carried that truth. The world around him had not changed, but his inner broadcast had. That day, opportunities appeared where none existed before. He did not force them, he tuned into them. So must you. Tonight, close your eyes and breathe deeply. Imagine golden threads running through your blood, ancient and luminous. Speak these words: I remember, I reclaim, I receive. Let them echo until you feel their weight dissolve. You are not a seeker of wealth. You are a bearer of codes. You are the continuation of abundance itself. Chapter 3. Resonance over rules. The energetic truth of money. The world tells you that wealth belongs to those who follow rules. Work harder, wake earlier, save relentlessly, sacrifice joy, climb the ladder step by step. But rules are illusions. They bind only those who believe in them. Money does not answer rules. Money answers resonance. Resonance is the song you hum when no one listens. It is the feeling you carry when your heart expands, even before your bank account reflects it. Resonance is alignment with the truth that you are already abundant, already magnetic, already chosen. Rules say, do this, then earn that. Resonance says, be this, and all will come. Think of a tuning fork. Strike it, and the air vibrates in harmony. Another fork nearby begins to hum without being touched. This is resonance. It is invisible, inevitable, and undeniable. When your being vibrates wealth, money cannot help but echo. Elias learned this in the desert winds. At first he sang with effort, forcing tones, demanding harmony. The winds resisted. But one evening he stopped forcing. He smiled, allowed joy to bubble up, and hummed softly. The reeds around him swayed, not from effort, but from resonance. He had become the song itself. So must you. Feel rich before wealth appears. Speak in the language of abundance before evidence arrives. Carry yourself as one who already owns, already gives, already overflows. This is not delusion. This is alignment. The body believes what the heart insists. The world reshapes to match it. Tonight, whisper this truth as you drift to sleep. I am the frequency money loves. I am the vibration wealth answers. Repeat it until the words dissolve into feeling. Repeat until the feeling dissolves into sleep. Rules may fail you, resonance will not. Chapter 4. The signal you're always broadcasting. Every moment of your life, whether in joy or despair, you are sending out a signal. It does not matter whether you are conscious of it or not. The signal is constant. The world listens. The universe receives. Money, opportunity, relationships, and experiences respond in exact harmony to the broadcast you release. When a young woman named Celine tended her father's small stall in the marketplace, she often sighed as she arranged the fruit. Her body moved with care, but her heart carried heaviness. She would think, "No one will come today. People prefer the merchants with bigger stalls. I am unlucky." And though the fruit glistened in the morning light, customers passed by. The stall was invisible. But one day, an old priest paused by her stall. He did not buy anything. Instead, he whispered, "Your stall is not empty because your fruit is unwanted. It is empty because your signal is unworthy." Celine was startled. The priest continued, "Not your worth, child. Your broadcast. You are radiating rejection. You are asking the world to ignore you, and so it obeys." The words unsettled her, but they lingered. That night, she reflected, she had thought herself small, powerless. But the old man's words suggested she was powerful beyond measure, so powerful that her doubts became commands to the universe. If even her fears could create emptiness, then perhaps her joy could create abundance. The next morning, she tried something new. She whispered to her fruit, "You will nourish kings and queens. You are divine, and those who taste you will prosper." She arranged them with reverence. Her heart lifted, and her chest radiated a quiet pride. That day, not only did customers come, but they bought more than ever. They did not understand why, but they felt drawn to her stall. Her broadcast had changed. This is your truth as well. You are never silent. Even when you say nothing, your energy hums. Your posture, your thoughts, your sighs, these are signals. And money does not respond to words alone. It responds to vibration. If you say, "I want abundance," but broadcast fear of bills, the universe answers the fear, not the words. What then are you always broadcasting? Pause now. Feel the undercurrent of your body. Is it trust or tension? Do you live in expectation of blessings or in anticipation of loss? Your signal is the most honest prayer you ever send. And unlike spoken prayers, it cannot be faked. You can repeat affirmations endlessly, but if your heart broadcasts doubt, the signal overrides. True broadcast emerges not from forced thoughts, but from felt belief. The secret is not to fabricate signals. The secret is to embody them. When you align your inner state with joy, gratitude, and certainty, you emit them naturally. Your presence speaks louder than any script, and the world listens. Tonight, before sleep, breathe deeply and ask yourself, if money could hear my heart, what would it hear now? Do not judge the answer. Simply listen. Then whisper, "I choose to broadcast abundance. I choose to radiate worthiness." Let those words infuse your sleep. For tomorrow you will not chase wealth. Wealth will already be moving toward the sound of your signal. Chapter 5. The Law of Magnetic Identity. In the heart of a bustling empire, there was once a craftsman named Dorian. He carved wooden amulets, small trinkets of beauty, yet he struggled to sell them. Others copied his work, often earning more than he did. He grew bitter, believing the market was unfair. One evening, a sage approached and asked, "Who are you when you carve?" "I am a poor man hoping someone will buy," Dorian replied. The sage shook his head. "That is why they pass you by. Your identity is poor. Your identity is need. And the law is clear. Identity is magnetic. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are." The words pierced Dorian like fire. That night he looked at his tools differently. Instead of thinking himself small, he asked, "What if I were already a master? What if I carved not as a beggar, but as a creator of treasures?" With this new identity, his hands moved differently. His work carried presence, depth, elegance. Customers felt it. His amulets became sought after, not because they had changed, but because he had. The law of magnetic identity is absolute. If you call yourself broke, the world treats you as broke. If you identify as someone who struggles, struggle multiplies. But when you identify as wealthy, powerful, inevitable, the field responds accordingly. Identity is the deepest frequency you carry. It is not about pretending. It is about becoming. Ask yourself, who am I in relation to wealth? If your answer is a seeker, a struggler, a beggar, then your signal is already corrupted. But if your answer becomes, I am a magnet for money, I am wealth in motion, I am prosperity itself, then your field transforms. The shift does not happen outside you. It happens inside. Wealth does not arrive to make you abundant. You become abundant to make wealth arrive. This is the inversion. This is the truth. Tonight, whisper this: I am not waiting to become wealthy. I already am. My identity is magnetic. I am wealth embodied. Say it until the words no longer feel like effort, but like memory. When you sleep in identity, you awaken in reality. Chapter 6. Frequency equals fortune. Understanding the vibration of value. Long ago, in a golden city, merchants argued over prices. Some said the value of goods depended on labor. Others claimed it depended on rarity. But one mystic smiled quietly and said, "You are all mistaken. Value is not in the object. Value is in the vibration." They laughed, dismissing him. Yet when he opened his stall, his wares, ordinary clay cups, sold for more than their jewels. People did not understand why, but they felt compelled. His cups carried something invisible, a vibration that made them priceless. The mystic knew a secret. Fortune follows frequency. Every object, every service, every act carries the vibration of the one who created it. If you cook while anxious, the meal feeds anxiety. If you build while joyful, the creation radiates joy. People do not buy what you make, they buy what you vibrate. This is why two identical products can fetch different fortunes. The difference is not the product, it is the energy of the one offering it. One person vibrates desperation, the other vibrates certainty. One emits lack, the other radiates wealth. Fortune follows vibration, not logic. Look at your own life. Do you approach your work with frustration, hoping to just get by? Or do you approach with devotion, certain that your touch carries gold? Wealth is not in the task. Wealth is in the frequency you bring to the task. Elias, the boy with the radio, once carved a simple wooden flute. It was not finely made, but he poured joy into it as he worked. When he played, the tone was imperfect, yet it carried something deeper. Travelers who heard it felt uplifted, and they paid generously for the flute. The wood was ordinary, the vibration was not. So it is with you. Your worth is not determined by effort alone. It is amplified by frequency. When you tune yourself to love, joy, confidence, everything you touch becomes valuable. When you align to abundance, even your simplest offerings become treasures. Tonight, as you lie down, whisper, I charge every word, every action, every creation with the vibration of wealth. Feel it ripple through you. Tomorrow you will see how fortune bends to frequency, and how value is never in the thing, but in the energy you breathe into it. Chapter 7. Upgrading your inner receiver. Subconscious retuning. Deep in a valley wrapped into perpetual fog lived a man named Kalen, a harp maker who could never understand why his instruments sounded dull. No matter how finely he carved the wood, no matter how carefully he stretched the strings, the music remained lifeless. Travelers who passed through praised his craftsmanship, but rarely purchased his harps. He grew frustrated, believing perhaps he was cursed. One day, an old musician wandered into his shop, picked up one of the harps, and plucked its strings. The sound was faint, flat, without resonance. The musician smiled and said, "The harp is not broken. The harp is waiting. The problem is not in the strings, it is in the ear that hears." Kalen did not understand at first. The musician explained, "You listen with doubt, so the harp responds with doubt. You receive the sound through a filter of unworthiness. Your instrument is fine, but your receiver is corrupted. Until you retune your inner ear, no string will sing. So it is with wealth. Your subconscious is the receiver through which all abundance plays. If the receiver is cracked with fear, if it is clogged with old beliefs, if it is distorted by shame, then no matter how loudly wealth sings, you will not hear it. You will interpret opportunity as risk. You will see prosperity and think it belongs to others. You will believe wealth is distant when in truth it is surrounding you at all times, humming like a harp waiting to be played. The subconscious is not an enemy. It is an ancient instrument that never sleeps. Every thought you repeat, every story you tell, every emotion you rehearse programs its strings. If those stories are of scarcity, the subconscious faithfully plays them. If those emotions are of lack, the subconscious broadcasts them. But when you learn to retune, when you upgrade the receiver, everything changes. Consider the mind as soil. Whatever seed is planted, it nurtures without judgment. Plant weeds of fear, and weeds will grow. Plant seeds of abundance, and abundance flourishes. Yet many go through life planting weeds unconsciously, rehearsing stories like, "I'll never make it. Money slips away. I am not enough." These seeds grow, not because they are true, but because the soil obeys. Upgrading your receiver means becoming conscious of what you are planting. It means speaking to your subconscious in its native tongue, the language of repetition, feeling, and imagery. It is not enough to think abundance once. You must impress it again and again until the soil knows no other seed. You must feel as though wealth is already yours, until your subconscious cannot distinguish between memory and vision. Kalen began to practice differently. Instead of plucking his harps with despair, he closed his eyes and imagined hearing celestial music. He breathed deeply and felt as though angels themselves were guiding his hands. When he opened his eyes, the strings seemed to vibrate differently. His customers noticed. The same harps made by the same hands now carried resonance. They sold quickly, and word spread of his instruments that sang like waterfalls. The only thing that had changed was his receiver. So too must you. Tonight before sleep, sit quietly. Close your eyes and whisper, "My subconscious is fertile soil. I plant seeds of wealth. I am tuned to prosperity." Repeat it not as words, but as feeling. See yourself walking through fields of golden harvest, touching abundance as though it is already real. Let this vision sink so deeply that when sleep takes you, your subconscious continues the melody. In days to come, you will notice the subtle shifts. Opportunities you once ignored will catch your attention. People you once thought unreachable will suddenly appear. Solutions you thought impossible will emerge with ease. This is not magic. This is tuning. The wealth has always been playing. Your receiver is finally clear enough to hear. Chapter 8. Your Nervous System and the Wealth Threshold. On the edge of a great kingdom lived a fisherman named Jareth. He dreamed of owning a fleet of ships, but each time his business grew, something collapsed. A storm would sink his boat, a partner would betray him, or fear would consume him. He could not hold on to wealth no matter how often it came. He believed he was cursed by fate. One evening, while mending his net, an elder approached and said softly, "You are not cursed, son. You are wired." The elder explained, "The body is like a vessel. It can only contain what it is conditioned to hold. When more wealth arrives than your nervous system believes it can handle, it will find ways to break, to lose, to sabotage. You do not lack opportunity. You lack capacity. This is the wealth threshold. Each person has an invisible ceiling set by their nervous system. Some can only hold a trickle of abundance before fear erupts. Others can hold rivers before trembling. It is not intelligence, not luck, not skill that sets this threshold. It is safety. If your body does not feel safe with wealth, it will release it, destroy it, or flee from it. Wealth is energy, and your nervous system is the container. If the container is fragile, it cracks. If the container is strong, it expands. Jareth realized he had been unconsciously treating wealth as danger. Each time he grew close to expansion, his body pulsed with panic. His mind whispered, "This is too much. You will lose everything. Better to return to what is familiar," and so he would unconsciously sabotage himself back to smallness. To raise the threshold, one must rewire safety. One must teach the body that wealth is not fire, but water, nourishing, cooling, sustaining. This is not done through thought alone. It is done through breath, presence, embodiment. Jareth began a new practice. Each night he would close his eyes and imagine holding more than he ever had. Boats lined across the shore, nets overflowing with fish, gold in his hands. His body would tense at first. He would sweat, his breath would quicken, but instead of fleeing, he breathed through it. He whispered, "It is safe to hold. It is safe to expand." Slowly, his body began to soften. His nervous system learned a new truth. Wealth was no longer danger. Wealth was home. Within a year, Jareth owned 3 ships, then 5. His body no longer trembled at expansion. His threshold had risen. So it must be with you. If money seems to vanish the moment it arrives, if success crumbles at your touch, it is not because you are cursed. It is because your vessel is small. Expand it. Teach your body safety. Each time you receive, no matter how small, pause and breathe deeply. Whisper, "It is safe to keep this. It is safe to grow." Let your body settle. The nervous system remembers. Tonight, lie in stillness. Imagine a fortune far greater than you've ever held. Let your body react. Tension, fear, excitement. Do not resist. Breathe. Soothe. Tell your vessel it is safe. Do this until expansion feels natural. Do this until wealth feels inevitable. For the only limit on what you can hold is the strength of your container. Chapter 9. Breaking the Pattern Loop. Interrupting Scarcity Circuits. In the city of Aravel, a woman named Mira lived the same cycle again and again. She would earn enough to feel secure, then expenses would rise. She would start a venture only for it to collapse just as it showed promise. Each time she thought she broke free, she found herself back where she began. One night, staring at her empty ledger, she cried, "Why am I trapped in this circle?" A shadowy figure appeared in her dreams, cloaked in silver light, and answered, "Because you walk the circle willingly. You think it is the path, but it is only a loop." The dream figure showed her a pattern, like grooves carved in stone. "Each thought you repeat," it said, "each fear you rehearse, each memory you replay, carves deeper into the stone. You walk these grooves, not because you must, but because they are familiar. Break the stone, and the path changes. Patterns are powerful. The subconscious, once taught, prefers familiarity over freedom. Even if a pattern brings pain, it feels safe because it is known. This is the prison of scarcity. You return to lack not because you deserve it, but because your mind knows it too well. To break the loop, you must interrupt the circuit. Scarcity thrives on repetition. Break the repetition, and the spell begins to weaken. Mira learned this the next morning. Instead of sighing at her ledger as she always did, she placed a flower beside it. She whispered gratitude for 1 coin instead of despair for the missing 100. She interrupted the loop. Her nervous system jolted awake, realizing something new is possible. From then on, each time scarcity thoughts arose, Mira spoke a new word. When her mind whispered, "I will lose this," she answered, "I am gaining more." When her heart feared collapse, she said, "I am expanding." Each small interruption weakened the old groove until one day the circle shattered. Your own loops are carved deep. Perhaps you always end the month broke. Perhaps every new job collapses. Perhaps every chance at wealth dissolves at the edge of success. These are not curses, they are circuits. Circuits can be rewired. Notice your loops. Identify the exact moment they repeat. Then act differently. Smile where you would sigh. Give where you would withhold. Speak abundance where you would mutter fear. The smallest shift breaks the rhythm, and when rhythm breaks, new music can play. Tonight, before you sleep, whisper, "I interrupt the loop. I shatter the stone. I choose the straight path of abundance." As you dream, imagine walking out of a circle and into a horizon without end. The loops are illusions. The path is freedom, and wealth awaits where repetition ends. Chapter 10. The 21-second tuning ritual. In a quiet coastal village where the sea sang eternal hymns, there lived a sailor named Rowan. Each morning before casting his nets, he would stand at the edge of the water and close his eyes. His neighbors mocked him, for while they hurried to the sea, Rowan stood in stillness, whispering words the wind could barely carry. Yet strangely, Rowan always returned with the fullest nets. When asked his secret, he said, "It is not the ocean I fish. It is the frequency I cast." He explained that before entering the waters, he aligned himself. He called this alignment his 21-second ritual. In those few breaths, he tuned his inner world so sharply that the outer world had no choice but to reflect it. This is a truth most overlook. We believe success must come from hours of labor, months of discipline, years of suffering. But alignment is instantaneous. In as little as 21 seconds of pure frequency, the universe can be commanded more strongly than by a lifetime of struggle. For the universe does not respond to time, it responds to resonance. Rowan's ritual was simple. For the first 7 seconds, he breathed deeply and whispered 3 truths of gratitude. I thank the sea for feeding me. I thank my hands for their strength. I thank the day for choosing me. His breath slowed the rushing noise of fear and steadied his body into safety. For the next 7 seconds, he spoke his becoming. I am wealth in motion. I am prosperity embodied. I am the one chosen to overflow. His heart expanded with each phrase, and his chest radiated warmth, as if the air itself believed him. For the final 7 seconds, he surrendered. He said nothing. He simply felt as though the world had already responded. He smiled faintly, eyes still closed, and allowed joy to ripple through his body. When he opened them, he knew the nets were already full. The ritual was not magic. It was science of spirit. It was the mechanics of resonance condensed into 3 breaths of 7 seconds each. Gratitude aligned him with trust. Identity set the frequency. Surrender allowed the field to deliver, and the sea, ever faithful, echoed the broadcast. You, too, have oceans waiting to overflow into your life. But you approach them with fear, with doubt, with disbelief. You cast your nets into scarcity, and the waters obey. Yet if you paused just 21 seconds, you would notice the shift. The sea within responds before the sea without. Try it tonight. Before you sleep, practice Rowan's way. 7 seconds of gratitude, 7 seconds of becoming, 7 seconds of surrender. Do not force words. Let them be felt. For it is not the speech that matters, but the frequency beneath it. If you do this each night, the nets of your life will grow heavy. Opportunities will swim toward you. Wealth will move as if summoned. And one day others will ask how you did it. And you will smile, as Rowan did, and whisper, "It was never the nets. It was the ritual." Chapter 11. Emotional Wealth. The Inner Currency of Billionaires. There was once a man named Thailand who inherited a vast estate. Gold filled his coffers, yet his nights were restless, his days heavy. He walked the gardens of his palace and felt no joy, only emptiness. Though the world called him rich, he was the poorest of men. For true wealth is not counted in coins, but in emotions. Billionaires of spirit know a secret. Money is only a shadow of inner wealth. Joy, gratitude, certainty, love, these are the true currencies. The more of them you hold, the more money is drawn to you. Not because of mystical chance, but because emotions are frequencies, and frequencies create reality. Thailand met a traveler who appeared in his garden one night. The traveler carried no possessions, only a worn smile. When Thailand mocked him for his lack, the traveler laughed. "I am wealthier than you," he said, "for I carry joy that no thief can steal. I carry peace that no market can crash. I carry gratitude that multiplies without end." Intrigued, Thailand followed him into the village. There he saw how people welcomed the traveler. Doors opened, meals were offered, gifts were given. The traveler had no coins, yet abundance followed him. Why? Because he radiated emotional wealth, and the world mirrored it back. Thailand realized his mistake. He had chased shadows while ignoring the source. He began small, practicing gratitude each dawn. At first it felt hollow, but slowly warmth grew in his chest. Then he practiced joy, not as reaction, but as creation. He chose to smile at the sound of birds, to laugh at the morning sun. In weeks, his palace felt alive. Servants became friends, partnerships formed effortlessly. Wealth began to flow more freely than before, yet this time it brought fulfillment. Your emotions are not trivial. They are the blueprint of your frequency. If you are rich in gratitude, wealth seeks you. If you are abundant in joy, opportunities multiply. If you are filled with certainty, doors open before you knock. But if you hoard fear, despair, or bitterness, your field collapses. Emotional wealth is the one treasure no crisis can erode. Stock markets may fall, economies may shift, but joy remains a magnet. Peace remains a beacon. Gratitude remains a magnetizing force. Tonight, close your eyes and ask, what emotional currency am I spending most? Do you pay the world with worry? Do you trade in doubt, or do you circulate gratitude like golden coins? Shift your currency. Choose to spend joy. The return is exponential. For when your emotions are wealthy, money cannot help but follow. Chapter 12. What Billionaire Confidence Feels Like. In the grand city of Althoria lived a young woman named Leora. She dreamed of building towers, structures so tall they would kiss the clouds. Yet whenever she presented her designs, her voice faltered, her hands trembled. Investors dismissed her, builders ignored her, not because her visions lacked brilliance, but because her confidence lacked presence. One day, wandering the market, she encountered a merchant selling pearls. His stall was small, his pearls modest, yet people flocked to him, buying eagerly, paying double the price. Curious, she asked, "Why do they trust you so easily?" He smiled and replied, "Because I trust myself first." Confidence is not sound. Confidence is frequency. They feel it before I speak. That night, Leora reflected, she realized that confidence was not loudness nor arrogance. It was certainty woven into every breath. True confidence does not shout. It hums. It does not demand attention. It attracts it. It does not prove worth. It embodies worth. From that day forward, she began to practice what billionaire confidence feels like. Each morning she stood before her mirror, not to criticize, but to embody. She straightened her spine, breathed deeply, and whispered, "I am inevitable. I am chosen. My vision is truth." She did not wait for the world to validate her. She validated herself. Weeks passed, and something shifted. When she walked into rooms, people turned before she spoke. When she presented her designs, her hands no longer trembled. Her eyes glowed with certainty. Investors leaned in, sensing her frequency before her words. Soon, towers began to rise, reaching toward the clouds as she had dreamed. Billionaire confidence is not about having billions. It is about embodying inevitability. It is the calm knowing that wealth flows to you, that your vision is valuable, that your presence is magnetic. It feels like standing on unshakable ground, even as the winds howl. It feels like silence louder than noise. It feels like trust so deep that the universe bends to support it. Ask yourself, do you feel inevitable, or do you still beg the world to see you? True wealth responds only to confidence, not the fragile mask, but the deep hum of self-certainty. Tonight, whisper as you fall asleep, "I am inevitable. My confidence is wealth. My presence is power." Feel it not as hope, but as fact. For when confidence becomes your frequency, money, people, and opportunities arrive not out of pity, but out of resonance. Confidence is not what you do, it is what you are. Chapter 13. The Power of Receiving, Clearing the Guilt Block. In a modest village surrounded by vineyards lived a woman named Amara. Her hands were always busy, tending the vines, baking bread, weaving cloth. She gave freely, never keeping for herself. Whenever neighbors tried to offer her coins or gifts, she would wave them away with a smile. "No, no," she'd insist. "I cannot accept. I am only glad to help." At first, the people adored her generosity, but over time, they stopped offering. They stopped including her in trades and gatherings, for her refusal created discomfort. And soon, Amara found herself exhausted, overlooked, and strangely poor, despite her endless giving. One evening, a weary traveler came to her cottage. She offered him food, as always, without expecting return. But this traveler refused to eat until she accepted something from him. From his pocket he pulled a small stone, polished and gleaming with faint golden light. "Take it," he said. Amara resisted, insisting she had no need. The traveler's eyes hardened. "Child," he whispered, "you dishonor me when you refuse my gift. Forgiving without receiving is imbalance. The current must flow both ways." Amara trembled, realizing she had never considered that refusal was its own form of pride. She thought she was being humble, but in truth she was damming the river of exchange. Her refusal told the universe, "I am unworthy. I am not meant to receive." And the universe, ever faithful, mirrored her belief. So it is with you. How often have you declined praise, brushed aside kindness, or downplayed your worth? Each act of rejection tells the field that you cannot hold wealth. Guilt is the block. Many have been taught that receiving is selfish, that abundance is shameful, that to take is to deprive another. But the truth is different. To receive fully is to honor the giver, to complete the circuit, to allow energy to circulate and multiply. Money is not hoarded. Money is current. If you cannot receive, the current cannot flow through you, and without flow, abundance cannot arrive. Amara, after that night, began to change. When a neighbor brought her bread, she received it with gratitude. When someone praised her weaving, she no longer deflected but said, "Thank you. I accept." At first it felt heavy, but soon it became natural. The vineyard began to thrive. Her baskets overflowed with gifts and goods. She realized that the universe had been trying to bless her all along. The only thing missing was her willingness to receive. To clear the guilt block, you must retrain your heart. Begin with small acts. When someone compliments you, do not dismiss it. Accept it. When a friend offers help, allow it. When money arrives unexpectedly, do not shrink with fear. Welcome it. Each act tells the field, I am safe with abundance. I am worthy to receive. Tonight, whisper softly, I honor the giver when I receive. I clear guilt. I open my heart to the flow. Breathe as though the universe itself is handing you treasure. Accept it, hold it, smile, feel how natural it is. For you are not stealing, you are allowing. And wealth always flows where it is allowed. Chapter 14. Your environment is a mirror of your frequency. In the bustling city of Seriphus, there was a merchant named Oren who struggled to grow his trade. His goods were fine, his skills unmatched, yet customers rarely lingered. One day, a mentor visited his stall. The mentor looked around and said nothing at first. Then he shook his head. Your goods are fine, but your space is poor. Your stall is cluttered, your fabrics dull. You show your presence weighed down by chaos. The world mirrors you, child, and right now your mirror reflects lack. The words stung Oren, but he could not deny them. His stall indeed looked like a place of desperation. Dust gathered in corners, colors clashed, prices were scrawled hastily. He had believed that effort alone mattered, but frequency imprinted itself upon environment, and his environment spoke louder than his words. So it is with you. The space where you dwell is not neutral. Your bedroom, your desk, your wallet, your phone, each holds the echo of your frequency. If you live in clutter, the field hears confusion. If your walls are bare of beauty, the field hears neglect. If your wallet is torn, the field hears poverty. The universe mirrors what you declare through your surroundings. Oren began anew. He cleaned every inch of his stall. He polished wood until it gleamed, folded fabrics with reverence, placed flowers at the entrance. He arranged his goods as though kings would buy them. Customers noticed instantly. They felt a shift without knowing why. Within weeks, Oren's trade multiplied, not because his goods changed, but because his frequency changed, and his environment revealed it. Look around you now. What does your environment say about your wealth frequency? Does your space whisper abundance, or does it mutter scarcity? Do your surroundings uplift, or do they drain? The truth is simple. Money follows beauty, order, and intention, not because wealth is vain, but because wealth is resonance. To align, begin with small changes. Keep your wallet organized. Place symbols of abundance where your eyes fall first each morning. Surround yourself with scents, sounds, and sights that elevate your state. Create an altar of prosperity, a place where you honor wealth with gratitude. As you do, the environment whispers to the universe, I am ready. I am aligned. I am abundant. Tonight, before sleep, walk through your room. Remove one object that carries lack, perhaps an old bill, a broken item, or a reminder of failure. Replace it with one symbol of abundance, a candle, a crystal, a coin placed with intention. Sleep in the presence of prosperity. For when your environment reflects wealth, your frequency becomes irresistible. Chapter 15. The Wealth Walk. Moving like a magnet. In a mountain monastery, monks practiced a strange ritual each morning. They would walk slowly through the courtyard, their backs straight, their steps deliberate. They called it the Wealth Walk. When a young traveler asked what it meant, the abbot replied, Wealth does not come to those who chase. It comes to those who carry it already. Walk as though the ground itself is blessed by your presence, and the universe will move to honor you. The traveler tried it. At first, he felt awkward, his shoulders tense, his steps uncertain, but with practice, something shifted. He no longer walked with desperation, but with inevitability. When he returned to the city, people noticed. Doors opened for him, strangers greeted him, opportunities emerged. Nothing about his clothes or face had changed, only his walk. This is the secret of embodiment. Your body is a broadcasting tower. The way you move, breathe, stand, all transmit frequency. If you walk as though invisible, the world does not see you. If you walk as though unworthy, the world reflects rejection. But if you walk as though wealth already belongs to you, the world responds with reverence. The wealth walk is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is the silent declaration, I am chosen, I am abundant, I am magnetic. Every step becomes an imprint upon reality, each footprint a seal of prosperity. Practice this tomorrow. As you rise, do not rush. Stand tall, place your shoulders back, breathe deeply, and imagine golden light radiating from your chest. Walk through your home as though it were a palace. Step into the street as though you were blessing the ground. Do not demand attention, simply allow presence to expand. The world will feel it. Elias, the boy with the radio, discovered this truth when he began walking differently. Instead of shuffling with doubt, he walked with rhythm, as though carrying music within him. Suddenly, merchants greeted him kindly, villagers treated him with respect, and wealth began to flow toward him. His walk had become a magnet. Tonight, imagine yourself walking on streets paved in gold. Feel the ground rise to meet you with each step. Whisper, I walk as wealth. I walk as magnet. I walk as inevitability. Let your body remember the sensation as you drift into sleep. For when your walk changes, your world changes, and wealth, like iron to a lodestone, cannot resist your stride. Chapter 16. Money Speaks in Symbols, Learning Its Language. There was once a kingdom where a river flowed so abundantly that the villagers believed it endless. Yet the people rarely drank directly from it. Instead, they filled vessels, cups, jugs, bowls. The size and beauty of the vessel determined how much one could carry, though the river remained the same for all. The river was abundance itself, but each villager's experience was shaped by the symbol they chose to receive it with. So it is with money. Money does not speak in words, it speaks in symbols. A coin, a bill, a number on a screen are not wealth itself. They are vessels. They are the bowls through which the infinite river of abundance pours into your life. Yet many mistake the bowl for the river. They think money is the source, when in truth it is the symbol. Symbols are powerful, for they bypass logic and speak directly to the subconscious. When you treat a dollar as sacred, your subconscious believes abundance is sacred. When you crumple it with disregard, your subconscious interprets abundance as disposable. When you place your coins in order, when you bless your wallet, when you carry your financial symbols with reverence, you are not worshiping paper. You are communicating with the language money understands. There was once a young scribe named Aria who struggled with poverty though she worked tirelessly. One day a mystic told her, "You do not honor money. You treat it as burden, not as symbol." At first she laughed, but then she realized her truth. Her purse was torn, her coins scattered, her bills wrinkled. She had never thanked money for arriving, she had only cursed it for leaving. So she began a new ritual. Each evening she laid out every coin on her table and whispered gratitude. She polished them until they gleamed, arranged them in order, and spoke blessings into her purse. Weeks later, her life shifted. Unexpected gifts arrived, customers paid early. The mystic explained, "You have learned to speak money's language, and now money answers. If you wish to increase abundance, do not ignore the symbols. They are the sacred vocabulary through which your subconscious communicates with the field. How you treat them reflects how you treat wealth itself. Keep your wallet clean, respect your bills, place coins on an altar and whisper thanks. Write down numbers that represent your desired wealth and let your eyes absorb them daily. The universe reads not your logic, but your energy. And energy is transmitted through symbols. This is why rituals matter. This is why intention transforms paper into magnet. The language of wealth is symbolic, and symbols, when honored, multiply. Tonight, before sleep, place a single coin in your palm. Hold it to your heart. Whisper, "You are not small. You are a river. I honor you. I welcome more sleep," with the coin near your bed, as if it were a talisman. In time, your subconscious will learn the language. And when it does, the river of wealth will pour more freely into your chosen vessel. Chapter 17, The Voice of Worth, Wealthy Words Before Sleep. In a quiet village nestled among lavender fields, there lived a young poet named Lyra. She had the gift of weaving words so beautiful that even the birds seemed to pause to listen. Yet Lyra was poor, for though she blessed others with her verses, she cursed herself each night with whispers of failure. Before sleep, she would murmur, "I am not enough. No one will value me. My dreams are foolish." These words soaked into her subconscious like ink into parchment, and her waking life mirrored them faithfully. One night, as she lay under the stars, an old woman approached her. The woman handed her a mirror and said, "Listen closely. The words you speak before sleep are the architects of your tomorrow. For in slumber, your subconscious is a fertile field, and words are seeds. Plant thorns, and you will wake to pain. Plant roses, and you will wake to beauty." The revelation struck Lyra deeply. She realized she had been planting weeds into her own soil. That night, instead of whispering despair, she tried something new. She placed her hand on her heart and said, "I am chosen. My words carry wealth. My voice is valuable." At first it felt like pretending, but night after night she continued. Soon her dreams filled with visions of abundance, of crowds gathered to hear her verses, of coins showering at her feet. And in waking life, her reality began to mirror her dreams. Wealthy patrons discovered her, and her poetry became sought after. The voice of worth is not about loud proclamations in the day. It is about the soft whispers you send into the darkness at night. The subconscious does not resist in sleep. It accepts. It absorbs. It builds reality from what it hears, and what it hears last, it takes as command. What words do you whisper before you drift into the unknown? Do you sigh, "I am tired, I am broken, I cannot go on"? Or do you whisper, "I am abundance, I am worthy, I am inevitable"? The universe listens most closely in those moments, when the veil between conscious and subconscious is thin. Begin your own ritual. Each night, before your eyes close, speak 3 statements of worth. They must be present, powerful, and resonant. "I am" is the doorway. Fill it with truth, not fear. Repeat them slowly, letting them sink like stones into water. As you fall asleep, imagine those stones creating ripples that spread through your dreams, your subconscious, and into the very fabric of your tomorrow. Lyra's fortune did not change overnight, but within weeks, opportunities emerged she had once thought impossible. Her worth, once hidden under weeds of doubt, bloomed into reality, and she realized the truth. Her voice was not powerless. It was the very pen that wrote her destiny. So it is with you. Your wealthy tomorrow begins not with effort in daylight, but with whispers in the dark. Tonight, whisper boldly, for your words are keys, and your subconscious is the lock. Speak as though you are already rich, and the doors will open. Chapter 18, The Energetics of Pricing, Asking, and Accepting. In the city of Caleth, merchants filled the marketplace with goods of every kind. Some shouted loudly, lowering their prices to attract crowds. Others whispered of bargains, begging for buyers. Yet there was one merchant, a woman named Seraphine, whose stall never shouted, never begged. Her goods were priced higher than all others, yet people lined up to pay. When asked her secret, she smiled. It is not the price that matters, It is the energy behind the price. It is not the ask that matters. It is the vibration with which you ask. And it is not the acceptance that matters. It is how you receive. Seraphine understood what many forget. Money is not logic. Money is energy. If you price from fear, believing no one will pay, you broadcast doubt, and doubt repels. If you ask with desperation, the field feels it, and desperation pushes wealth away. If you accept with guilt, you collapse the frequency, telling the universe you cannot hold what you have called. But if you price with certainty, if you ask with confidence, if you accept with joy, the universe answers with multiplication. A young merchant nearby, named Caden, scoffed. He sold the same cloth as Seraphine for half the price, yet struggled. He confronted her one evening. "Why do people pay you more?" She answered, "Because when I touch the cloth, I infuse it with reverence. When I speak my price, I speak it as truth, not plea. When I receive their coin, I honor it fully, smiling as though I have been entrusted with a treasure. They feel it, though they do not know why. Energy shapes exchange. Caden tried to copy her prices, but he carried doubt. Customers sensed it. They resisted. Only when he shifted his energy, valuing his own work, asking without shame, receiving without apology, did his fortune rise. Your own relationship with money is revealed in how you price, how you ask, and how you accept. Do you undervalue your gifts, fearing rejection? Do you whisper your worth as though ashamed? Do you apologize when money comes, as if you have taken what was not yours? If so, your frequency collapses at the moment of exchange. Begin again. Price your value not by fear, but by frequency. Feel into what honors both you and the receiver. Ask boldly, not as beggar, but as equal. Accept with open heart, knowing the circuit is completed. Smile at money when it arrives. Thank it as though it were sacred, for it is not just a coin or number, it is energy responding to your broadcast. Seraphine's stall thrived because she understood this. She did not sell cloth. She sold frequency, and buyers gladly paid, not for the fabric, but for the energy it carried. Tonight, whisper as you drift to sleep, I price with certainty. I ask with confidence. I accept with joy. Let the words echo into your subconscious, so that tomorrow every exchange you make carries the vibration of wealth. And soon, like Seraphine, you will find that people are not paying for your goods alone. They are paying for the resonance of your frequency. Chapter 19, Your Frequency First Morning Practice. In the highlands of a distant land, where the mist rolled gently across the valleys, there lived a farmer named Olin. He tended sheep and fields, yet always felt as though fortune eluded him. Each morning he rose with heavy thoughts. He worried about weather, about wolves, about whether his crops would survive. And as he began his day with fear, his day always seemed to confirm it. Storms arrived suddenly, animals strayed, and profit was scarce. One dawn, an elder passed by and watched Olin mutter as he fed his sheep. "Child," the elder said, "your mornings are spells. You curse the day before it even begins. The sun does not withhold, but your frequency blocks its warmth. To change your days, you must first change your mornings." The elder explained that the first few moments after waking are the most powerful of all. The subconscious, still soft from sleep, listens intently. The field, like freshly plowed earth, waits for seeds, and whatever is planted in those minutes shapes the tone of the hours that follow. Olin realized he had been planting thorns each morning, and the harvest of his day reflected it. So he tried something new. Instead of sighing when he woke, he placed his hand on his chest and whispered, "I am alive, and this is wealth. I am chosen, and this day bends for me. I am a magnet, and all I desire flows to me." At first it felt strange, but soon he noticed subtle shifts. The sheep grazed calmly. The sky seemed kinder. Strangers offered him help. The same land, the same work, but a new frequency. This is your truth as well. You begin each morning broadcasting. If you wake with dread, dread multiplies. If you wake with gratitude, gratitude expands. If you wake with certainty, certainty carries you. Your morning is not routine, it is alignment. To practice, begin with stillness. Before touching your phone, before rushing into the world, close your eyes and breathe. Whisper 3 statements of gratitude, 3 affirmations of identity, and 1 vision of what you call into your life. Feel them, not as requests, but as truth. Then rise, moving as though wealth already fills your day. Olin transformed his life not by changing his fields, but by changing his frequency at dawn. His fortune grew, his land flourished, and his mornings became sacred rituals. And he knew the truth. Wealth does not begin with work. Wealth begins with waking. Tomorrow, when the sun greets you, remember, you are not waking into chance. You are waking into choice. Plant your frequency first, and watch how the day bends to match it. Chapter 20. Silence as a Wealth Amplifier. There was once a scholar named Idris who filled his days with noise. He studied endlessly, wrote furiously, spoke constantly of strategies and schemes. He believed the more he consumed and the more he produced, the closer wealth would come. Yet, despite his efforts, his life remained empty of abundance. One evening, frustrated and weary, he visited the temple gardens. There he saw a monk sitting motionless beneath a willow tree, eyes closed, body still, lips silent. Hours passed and the monk did not move. Finally, Idris burst out, "Why do you waste time in silence when action is needed? Wealth does not come to those who sit idly." The monk opened his eyes and smiled. "And yet," he said, "my life overflows." Silence is not idleness. Silence is amplification. The universe does not hear your noise. It hears your frequency. And in silence, frequency speaks the loudest. Idris did not understand, but he returned the next day. He sat beside the monk in silence. At first his thoughts raged, calculations, doubts, worries. But as he stayed, the noise faded. In the quiet, he felt something he had never felt before, a pulse, like the hum of the earth itself, steady and strong. And he realized that this hum was wealth, already surrounding him, already flowing, waiting only for him to listen. The truth is this: silence is the amplifier of abundance. In noise, your frequency is scattered. In silence, it becomes concentrated, like a beam of light through glass. Wealth does not respond to frantic action. It responds to clarity. And clarity comes only when the noise subsides. The wealthiest of souls know this. They do not clutter their minds with endless chatter. They do not drown their energy in distraction. They carve moments of silence into each day, allowing their frequency to align and expand. Idris began to practice silence each dawn and dusk. At first 5 minutes, then 10, then longer. He did nothing but breathe and listen. Soon, opportunities began arriving with ease. Ideas flowed effortlessly, as if whispered by the quiet itself. Wealth gathered not from new strategies, but from clarity born in stillness. You too must practice silence. Sit each day, even briefly, in stillness. Let your thoughts wandering and fade. Focus not on doing, but on being. In the silence, feel your frequency hum. Feel wealth already near. Feel yourself aligned with inevitability. For silence is not emptiness. Silence is fullness, and in its resonance, money multiplies. Chapter 21. The Dream Detective's Investigation. In the town of Eldralite, a man named Corin noticed something strange. Each night he dreamed of symbols, locked doors, winding staircases, rivers overflowing their banks. At first, he dismissed them as nonsense. But his life mirrored the confusion. His ventures stalled, his wealth slipped away. and he felt trapped in cycles he could not break. One morning, an old dreamkeeper approached him in the marketplace. She said, "Your dreams are not nonsense. They are messages. They are your subconscious speaking in the only language it knows, symbols. If you investigate them, you will uncover the map to your wealth." Intrigued, Corin began recording his dreams. Each morning he wrote every detail, the colors, the feelings, the images. Over time he saw patterns. Each locked door appeared when he doubted himself. Each staircase came when he hesitated to grow. Each overflowing river appeared when abundance was near, but his vessel too small to contain it. He realized his subconscious had been guiding him all along. He had simply ignored the clues. Dreams are mirrors. They reveal what your conscious mind hides. They whisper where your energy is blocked, where your frequency is fractured, where wealth cannot yet flow. To dismiss them is to discard the compass. To investigate them is to discover the path. Corin became a dream detective. Each morning he reviewed his journal, seeking patterns. When he dreamed of doors, he asked, "What am I afraid to open?" When he dreamed of staircases, he asked, "Where must I rise?" When rivers appeared, he asked, "Am I ready to receive?" By following the symbols, he adjusted his waking life. He faced fears, pursued growth, expanded capacity, and as he did, wealth began to pour in, as though the dreams had predicted it. You too can practice this. Keep a journal by your bed. Each morning, write your dreams without judgment. Study the symbols. Notice what repeats. Ask what each might mean in relation to your abundance. Do not seek logic. Seek resonance. The subconscious speaks not in sentences but in images. It is a detective story written in symbols waiting for you to solve. And each time you decode one, you unlock a new pathway to wealth. Corin eventually became wealthy, not by force, but by listening. His dreams had been guiding him to the billionaire frequency all along. He only needed to investigate. Tonight, before sleep, whisper, "Show me where I am blocked. Show me where I am free. Show me my path to wealth trust that your dreams will answer." For the subconscious is a detective that never lies. Chapter 22. The Manifestation Mathematician. In the marble halls of an ancient city, there lived a quiet carpenter named Malric. He had little wealth, though his work was flawless. Day after day he built tables, chairs, and doors, yet he remained poor while others prospered. One evening, after a long day's labor, he passed by a temple where the priests studied geometric patterns etched into golden tablets. Circles, spirals, and triangles glowed under torchlight. He paused to watch, and one of the priests beckoned him closer. "You cut wood," the priest said, "but do you not see that wood itself follows divine order? The rings of a tree are circles, the branches spiral, the grain follows unseen mathematics. You labor without knowing that all creation obeys number. Wealth is no different. To manifest wealth, you must align with the mathematics of the universe." Malric was puzzled, but he listened. The priest explained that numbers are not mere symbols. They are frequencies, carriers of order, harmony, and rhythm. The same patterns that create galaxies create opportunity. The golden ratio that shapes a seashell also shapes the unfolding of prosperity. And when one lives in alignment with these sacred forms, abundance flows effortlessly, as naturally as the spiral of a fern. The carpenter began experimenting. Each morning he arranged his coins in sequences of 3, then 5, then 8, whispering his desires as he did so. He carved his furniture following the spiral, embedding sacred geometry into his work. And slowly, buyers came. They claimed his pieces carried a beauty they could not explain, as though they resonated with something deep inside. His wealth grew, not because he worked harder, but because he worked in harmony. This is the secret of the manifestation mathematician. The universe is a code. Its building blocks are rhythm, sequence, proportion. You cannot manifest outside this code. When you scatter your energy without form, you invite chaos. But when you align your desires with sacred order, reality reshapes around you. Begin to see numbers not as mere figures, but as allies. 3, the number of creation. 5, the number of change. 8, the number of infinity and flow. Arrange your desires in these forms. Repeat affirmations 3 times. Write goals in sets of 5. Breathe in cycles of 8. Your subconscious absorbs these rhythms, and the field responds. Malric became wealthy because he treated manifestation as mathematics, not mystery. He realized that to count was to create, to measure was to multiply, to sequence was to summon. Tonight, as you fall asleep, imagine a golden spiral unfurling from your heart. Place your greatest desire at its center. See it expand outward, carried by the rhythm of universal law. Whisper, I align with divine number. I align with order. I align with wealth. For in the end, wealth is not chaos. Wealth is harmony, and harmony, like mathematics, never fails. Chapter 23. The Collective Consciousness Connector. High on the cliffs overlooking a restless sea lived a woman named Kalira. She was a healer, known for her herbs and remedies. Yet there were times when knowledge failed her. Patients arrived with illnesses she could not name, burdens she could not cure. One night, desperate, she climbed the cliffs to the highest point and shouted into the wind, "Show me what I do not know." As she drifted to sleep under the stars, she dreamed of countless voices, some whispering, some chanting, some singing in unison. She awoke with a revelation. She had tapped into the collective consciousness, the great ocean of human wisdom that exists beyond time. Every solution, every invention, every discovery resides there, waiting to be drawn down like water from a well. From that day, when faced with a challenge, Kalira did not panic. She stilled herself, closed her eyes, and imagined dipping into that great ocean. Ideas would surface, remedies she had never learned, insights she could not explain. Her reputation grew, and so did her wealth. For people traveled from faraway lands to experience the miracle of her cures. This is the truth. You are not isolated. You are not separate. Your mind is not a locked room. It is a doorway into the vast network of humanity's collective knowing. Every thought you have ever had has been thought by another. Every invention you dream has already begun forming in the field. When you attune yourself, you do not create from nothing. You pull from everything. To connect, you must first release the illusion of isolation. Sit in silence and imagine your mind as a glowing thread in a web that spans the entire earth. Each thread is another human, past and present, living or gone, all transmitting wisdom, all sharing frequency. Whisper your question into the web, then wait. The answer will arrive, perhaps in a dream, perhaps in a conversation, perhaps as a sudden knowing you cannot explain. Kalira grew wealthy because she learned to ask not alone, but as part of the many. She understood that to connect was to multiply power, to access the full current of creation itself. Tonight, before sleep, close your eyes and whisper, I connect to the field. I connect to the wisdom of all. I open to the collective, then rest, knowing that what you seek is already within the web. And when you wake, trust the signs. For the collective always answers those who are ready to listen. Chapter 24. The Reality Revision Workshop. In the city of Oran, there lived a merchant named Selvar, haunted by a single memory. Years ago, he had lost everything in a failed venture. Though time passed, the shame lingered. Every new opportunity he touched withered, as if cursed by the shadow of that past. He could not escape, for he carried the memory like a chain. One night, an old mystic came to his door. She said, "Your memory is not stone. It is clay. You can shape it. You can rewrite it. And when you do, the present will no longer bow to the past. She led him to a quiet chamber filled with candles. "Close your eyes," she whispered. "See the moment of failure. Do not run. Do not flinch. Now imagine it anew. Imagine it as triumph. Imagine the investors smiling, the contracts signing, the gold flowing. Breathe it until your body believes it." Selvar trembled, but he tried. At first the old memory fought back. Shame rose like smoke, but he persisted, painting a new scene with his imagination. He saw himself not as failure, but as victor. His heart steadied, his breath calmed, and slowly the memory shifted. It no longer burned, it became neutral, even empowering. Within weeks, his fortune changed. Investors trusted him again. His ventures thrived, for the chain had been broken, not by erasing the past, but by revising its meaning. This is the secret of the Reality Revision Workshop. The subconscious does not know time. It does not distinguish between past and present. Every memory is alive in you now. If the memory is filled with fear, it will shape your today. But if you rewrite it with love, courage, and triumph, your today transforms as well. To practice, choose one painful memory that still binds you. Close your eyes. Replay it gently. Then, while breathing deeply, begin to imagine a new outcome. Change the words spoken, change the expressions on faces, change the ending. Do this until your body feels the shift. Repeat until the old sting dissolves, replaced by new strength. Selvar discovered that reality itself bends when the past is rewritten. For you are not bound by what happened. You are bound only by what you believe it meant. Change the meaning, and you change the manifestation. Tonight, before sleep, whisper, "My past is clay. I mold it with love. I rewrite my story. I create my wealth anew, then drift into dreams where every scar becomes a jewel, every failure becomes foundation, every memory becomes magic. For your reality is not fixed. It is a workshop, and you are the master craftsman." Chapter 25. The Gratitude Amplification Chamber. In the heart of a silver desert lived a wanderer named Isolde. Though her purse was often empty, her spirit carried something rare. She smiled at every sunrise, bowed in thanks to every sip of water, and whispered gratitude for every small kindness. Villagers pitied her poverty, but they could not understand why blessings seemed to follow her footsteps. She always found food when she needed it, shelter when storms rose, and companions wherever she traveled. One day, a wealthy merchant asked her, "Why does fortune protect you when you have so little?" Isolde answered, "Because gratitude multiplies itself. I carry wealth not in coins, but in thanks, and thanks draws coins as rivers draw rain." The merchant laughed, dismissing her words. But years later, when his own fortune collapsed, he remembered Isolde. In desperation, he found her again. She invited him into her tent, a humble space glowing with candles. "Sit," she said, "and enter the chamber of gratitude." She guided him to close his eyes and name 3 small blessings from that day. At first, he struggled. His mind, filled with loss, resisted, but she insisted. Slowly he whispered, "The warmth of the fire, the bread I ate this morning, the breath in my lungs." His chest softened, his eyes moistened, and something shifted. Gratitude is not sentiment, it is alchemy. It transforms lack into overflow, scarcity into abundance. When you feel gratitude, your frequency rises, and the universe mirrors it. You cannot be grateful and poor in spirit at the same time. You cannot be grateful and empty, for gratitude itself is fullness, and fullness attracts more. The merchant began practicing nightly. Each evening he entered his own gratitude chamber, a quiet corner where he whispered blessings. Soon, opportunities returned, doors opened, fortunes multiplied. He realized that wealth had been waiting all along, but his despair had blocked it. Gratitude cleared the channel, so it must be with you. Gratitude is not for when wealth arrives. Gratitude is the magnet that brings it. Begin now, even with the smallest details. Thank the breath, the bed, the silence. Thank the challenges, for they carved your strength. Thank the delays, for they taught your patience. Thank the pennies, for they call the rivers of gold. Build your chamber of gratitude each night before sleep. Whisper thanks until your heart glows. Let gratitude be the last frequency you broadcast. In the silence of slumber, it will amplify itself, multiplying unseen until it returns in waking life. For gratitude is not a reaction. Gratitude is creation, and those who dwell in thanks cannot help but overflow. Chapter 26, The Infinite Possibility Portal. In a mountain monastery where clouds touch the earth, a monk named Aron spent his days meditating on a single truth. Reality is not fixed. He told his students, "The world is not stone. It is mist. You think it's solid because you only see one form, but infinite forms exist around you, waiting for you to choose." One night, a young student asked, "How do I see these forms?" The monk led him to a still lake beneath the moon. "Look," he said. The student saw one reflection, his own, but then the monk tossed a pebble. The reflection rippled, fractured into countless images. "This," said Aron, "is the portal of infinite possibility." Reality ripples the same way. Every choice, every thought, every intention sends waves that open new reflections. You are never bound to one. You are free to choose. The boy understood. Infinite versions of his life existed, waiting, but most people stare only at the first reflection, believing it unchangeable. They forget they can toss the pebble, create new ripples, step into new versions. So it is with wealth. If you believe poverty is your only reflection, you remain trapped. But if you dare to see another possibility, wealth, expansion, abundance, you begin to step through the portal. It is not fantasy. It is frequency. The more you align with the possibility you desire, the more it solidifies into form. There was once a tailor who dreamed of traveling the world, but believed himself too poor. Every night he sighed, thinking it impossible. But one evening he imagined another version of himself, a traveler, a merchant, a man of fortune. He felt it deeply, as though real. Weeks later, a caravan master visited, seeking help with fabrics. The tailor joined the caravan, and his life shifted. He had stepped through the portal he had imagined. You too carry portals. Each time you imagine, you open a door. Each time you believe, you walk closer. Each time you act in alignment, you step through. The portal is infinite. The only limit is your choice. Tonight, before sleep, imagine holding a key of light. See before you countless doors, each one a version of your life. Poverty behind one, wealth behind another, joy behind another still. Walk to the door of abundance. Unlock it. Step through. Feel the air, the certainty, the freedom. Sleep inside that version. When you wake, it will begin to weave itself into your reality. For the truth is this: reality is not singular. Reality is infinite. And wealth is only one choice away. Chapter 27, The Energy Signature Designer. In the Valley of Emerald Hills, there was a painter named Arion. His art was striking, yet few bought it. He could not understand why. His colors were bold, his strokes precise, his subjects grand. But one evening, a traveler gazed at his work and shook his head. "Your paintings are technically perfect," the traveler said, "but they lack your energy. They carry your doubt. And doubt repels." The words haunted Arion. He realized that each time he painted, he thought of his failures. He worried no one would buy. He infused fear into his work. The canvas, though beautiful, vibrated with lack. So he changed. Before painting, he sat in silence, breathing deeply until joy filled his chest. He imagined himself already wealthy, already celebrated. He let that energy flood his hands, his brush, his canvas. Soon his art glowed differently. Buyers felt drawn to it. His fortune shifted, not because his skill improved, but because his energy changed. This is the law of the energy signature. You broadcast continuously, and everything you touch carries your frequency. Every word you speak, every gesture you make, every creation you release, each bears your signature. If your signature is fear, it pushes wealth away. If your signature is certainty, it magnetizes prosperity. You are the designer of this signature. It is not fixed. Each day you can choose. You can design it as joy, as confidence, as inevitability. The key is intention. When you cook, infuse the food with gratitude. When you write, infuse the page with power. When you walk, radiate presence. Every action becomes a broadcast. Arian became wealthy because he redesigned his energy. He learned that money does not buy skill, it buys frequency. And when his frequency aligned with abundance, wealth followed. Tonight, ask yourself, what signature am I leaving in the world? Then whisper, I design my energy as wealth. I radiate abundance. I am the frequency of prosperity. Sleep with this truth, and tomorrow your very presence will shift. People will feel it. Opportunities will sense it. Money will answer it. For wealth is not just about what you do. It is about who you are being. And who you are being is written in your energy. You are the designer. Design wisely. Chapter 28. The Synchronicity Orchestrator. In a bustling harbor town lived a clockmaker named Alwyn. He worked diligently, crafting timepieces so precise they guided the ships of merchants across vast oceans. Yet Alwyn's own life seemed out of rhythm. He was always late for opportunity, missing moments by a hair's breadth. He felt cursed, as though fortune moved in a different time than he did. One evening, an old sailor came to his shop. He purchased no clock, but instead told Alwyn, "You believe time is fixed, but it bends for those attuned to its deeper music. When you align with frequency, the universe arranges itself in synchronicity. Doors open exactly when you arrive. People say the right words at the right time. Wealth appears at the perfect moment. This is not luck. This is orchestration." The words lingered. That night Alwyn dreamed of countless gears moving in perfect harmony, each tooth interlocking with the next, spinning together as though choreographed by unseen hands. He realized life was no different. Every moment is a gear, every event a wheel, and when you tune your frequency, you become part of the great clock of creation. Synchronicities are not random, they are signs you are in alignment. The next morning, Alwyn began paying attention. He noticed a customer mention an investor's name just as he was thinking about expanding. Later, a child handed him a coin with the same number he had written in his journal the night before. These coincidences were not coincidences at all. They were confirmations, notes in the symphony of wealth playing around him. You too are surrounded by synchronicity. The problem is not its absence, but your blindness to it. The universe leaves breadcrumbs, phrases overheard, numbers repeated, symbols recurring. These are signals guiding you toward your path. When ignored, you stumble. When honored, you flow. The key to orchestration is trust. Do not dismiss the signs as chance. Do not explain them away. Instead, smile when they appear. Whisper, "I see you." Each acknowledgement strengthens the symphony, and soon wealth itself begins to arrive through synchronicities. An unexpected meeting, a sudden opportunity, a perfect alignment of timing. Alwyn grew prosperous not by forcing, but by flowing. He allowed synchronicity to guide his steps, and soon his clocks became famous not only for telling time, but for reminding people of divine timing. Tonight, whisper before sleep, "I am in rhythm with the universe. I allow synchronicity to guide me. I trust the orchestration." And when you wake, notice the signs. They are already waiting. Wealth is not late. Wealth is perfectly timed. Chapter 29, The Master Key Holder. In the golden capital of a vast empire, there was a grand library said to contain every secret of creation. Scholars searched it daily, chasing formulas, rituals, strategies. They believed the one who found the ultimate key hidden within its halls would hold the power to unlock all doors. Wealth, love, power, freedom. Yet none ever found it. One day a young wanderer named Elira entered the library. She did not study the scrolls or books. Instead, she sat quietly listening, and after hours of silence, she whispered, "The key is not here. The key is me." The scholars laughed, but Elira left smiling. She had understood the truth. You are the master key holder. Wealth is not locked away from you. The doors you believe closed are illusions. The real lock is in your belief, and the real key is your consciousness. When you realize you are the creator, the dreamer of your reality, no door can resist you. Elira wandered the world, carrying no map, no fortune, only certainty. Whenever she needed, doors opened. People offered her shelter, merchants offered her work, nobles offered her patronage. She never begged, never chased. She radiated inevitability, and the world mirrored it. "How do you open every door?" they asked. She would smile and answer, "Because I know there was never a door to begin with. I am the key." This is the final inversion of the billionaire frequency. You are not waiting for wealth to choose you. You are not knocking on locked gates. You are the one who opens. You are the field. You are the current. You are the source. To live as master key holder, stop asking how and begin declaring, "I am." Stop searching for doors and begin seeing walls dissolve. Walk not as seeker, but as sovereign. Every time you whisper, "I am the frequency of wealth," you turn the key. Every time you act as though abundance is inevitable, you unlock another chamber of possibility. The scholars in the library still search, turning pages endlessly, but the wanderer knows the truth. The library itself is inside her, so it is with you. The master key is already in your hand. Tonight, whisper, "I am the key. I open all doors. I unlock wealth by being wealth." Sleep in this knowing, and you will awaken with doors already gone, horizons already open. Chapter 30, The Awakened Dreamer's Graduation. At the edge of the world stood a mountain said to be the final test for seekers of truth. Those who climbed it returned transformed, their eyes brighter, their lives forever changed. One by one, travelers attempted the climb, believing at its peak they would find the treasure of treasures. A young seeker named Arian began the ascent. He carried with him all he had learned: gratitude, symbols, silence, synchronicities. Step by step, he climbed higher, through storms and hunger, through doubt and exhaustion. Finally, he reached the summit, but there was no treasure, only a still lake reflecting the sky. Arian stared in confusion until he approached the water. As he gazed into its mirror, he saw not gold, not jewels, not scrolls of wisdom, but himself. And in that instant, he understood. The journey had not been toward wealth. The journey had been toward remembrance. He was the dreamer. He was the creator. He was the source. Graduation is not receiving wealth. Graduation is becoming wealth. It is no longer chasing but embodying. No longer asking but declaring, no longer seeking doors but realizing you are the house, the key, and the horizon beyond. Arian descended the mountain with nothing in his hands, but everything in his being. People noticed his glow, his calm, his inevitability. Opportunities poured toward him, but he no longer cared to chase them. He understood that wealth was no longer external. Wealth was his state. Wealth was his nature, and as he lived this truth, the world rearranged around him. So it must be with you. You have climbed through scarcity, through doubt, through guilt, through blocks. You have practiced rituals, tuned frequencies. listened to silence. Now can you graduate, not by earning more, but by remembering you are the dreamer of your life. The billionaire frequency is not about billions. It is about inevitability. It is about resonance so strong the world bends. It is about living as the source, not the seeker. You are no longer a student of wealth. You are the awakened dreamer. Tonight, as you close your eyes, whisper, I am the dreamer. I am the source. I am wealth embodied, and let that truth carry you into sleep. For graduation is not a ceremony. Graduation is a frequency. And now, at last, you have tuned into it. Chapter 31, The Temple of Circulation. In a sun-drenched city by the sea, a merchant named Varan grew wealthy selling silks from distant lands. Yet his fortune never stayed long. The more he hoarded, the faster it seemed to vanish. His storerooms overflowed, but his heart felt empty. Fear of loss kept him awake at night, and each morning he counted his coins as if gripping them tighter could keep them from slipping away. One day, while traveling through the desert, Varan collapsed from exhaustion. A nomadic elder found him and offered water from a gourd. Varan drank greedily, but the elder shook his head. Water is like wealth, the elder said. If you try to hold it too tightly, it evaporates. Only when water flows does it nourish. Only when money circulates does it multiply. The elder led Varan to a hidden temple carved into stone where golden bowls caught water streaming from an underground spring. The water flowed from bowl to bowl, spilling over yet never running out. This, said the elder, is the law of circulation. Hoarded water stagnates. Flowing water gives life. Money is no different. You must let it move. Varan returned home changed. Instead of hoarding, he began circulating wealth. He paid his workers generously, invested in their families, shared with the poor. Strangely, the more he released, the more returned to him. His business doubled, then tripled, as though the universe rewarded his flow. He realized that circulation was not loss, it was multiplication. You too must learn this law. To fear spending is to choke abundance. To give with resentment is to poison the current. But to circulate with trust is to align with the infinite river. Every coin you spend, every act of generosity, every investment is not gone. It is sent into the current that always returns. Tonight, whisper, I release with joy, and it returns multiplied. I let wealth flow, and wealth flows to me. Then imagine your money as golden water, circulating endlessly, nourishing all it touches, always returning fuller than before. For the temple of circulation is not far away. It is inside your heart, and when you live by its law, you discover that the more you give, the more inevitable your abundance becomes. Chapter 32, The Cosmic Treasurer's Ledger. High in the mountains, in a monastery where stars seemed close enough to touch, monks told a tale of the cosmic treasurer. They said she kept a ledger older than time, recording not numbers but frequencies. Every thought, every intention, every act of generosity or fear was entered into the great book. When a person aligned with abundance, their entry glowed golden. When they aligned with scarcity, it turned dull and gray. The treasurer was not judge nor punisher. She was mirror, keeping the balance exact. In a nearby village lived a man named Darren who always complained of misfortune. He worked hard but never advanced. He saved coins, but they slipped through his fingers. One evening a monk overheard his lament and said, "You misunderstand. The treasurer does not count your work. She records your frequency. If your thoughts are of loss, your entry reads loss. If your feelings are of despair, your entry glows dim. Align your energy and the ledger will reflect abundance." Darren scoffed, but curiosity drove him to try. That night, instead of muttering about his troubles, he wrote in a small book, "Today I am grateful for the bread I ate. Today I am worthy of wealth. Today, I circulate abundance. He repeated this daily, treating his book as a mirror of the treasurer's ledger. Slowly, his life shifted. Customers arrived, opportunities grew, money lingered longer. He realized his outer world mirrored the entries of his inner ledger. You too keep such a book, whether you write it or not. The universe reads the frequency of your thoughts as though ink on eternal parchment. Each complaint is an entry. Each fear is recorded. But so is each word of gratitude, each declaration of worth. The question is not whether the ledger exists. The question is, what are you writing in it? If you desire wealth, you must ensure your ledger glows golden. Each night before sleep, review your day and inscribe in your heart the entries you wish the treasurer to read. Whisper, I am abundant. I am grateful. I am inevitable. Let those be the words that echo into the eternal record. Darren eventually became a man of wealth, not because he changed his work, but because he changed his entries. The treasurer reflected only what he wrote in frequency, and when his entries turned golden, so did his life. Remember, every thought is ink, every feeling is number, every act is calculation. The cosmic treasurer keeps the balance perfectly, and when your ledger glows with wealth, the universe cannot help but pay in kind. Chapter 33. The Frequency Throne. In the center of a forgotten desert stood ruins of an ancient palace. Legends said its throne was not of gold nor stone, but of pure vibration. It could not be seen by the eye, only felt by the one who remembered who they truly were. Whoever sat upon it did not rule over others, but over reality itself. A traveler named Celine, weary from years of wandering, heard of this throne and sought it. She searched through dust and ruin, but found nothing but broken columns and scattered sand. In despair, she collapsed and whispered, "Perhaps the throne is only myth." That night, in dream, a figure clothed in light appeared. "The throne is not outside you," the figure said. "It is within. When you sit in full remembrance of your power, when you claim yourself as the source, you sit upon the frequency throne. From there, wealth and reality obey your command." Celine awoke with trembling heart. She closed her eyes and imagined herself seated upon a throne of vibration, radiant waves flowing from her body into the world. She whispered, "I am sovereign. I am the source. I am inevitable." The earth seemed to pulse beneath her, and when she opened her eyes, the ruins shimmered, no longer empty but alive with energy. She realized the throne had always been there, waiting for her to sit within herself. You too carry this throne. It is not given, it is claimed. Each time you stand tall in your worth, you ascend its steps. Each time you act as though wealth is inevitable, you seat yourself upon it. Each time you embody gratitude, circulation, and certainty, you reign from it. Do not wait for permission. Do not beg for crowns from others. The throne is vibration, and it recognizes only one law. Frequency commands form. When your frequency declares wealth, the throne confirms it. When your frequency radiates sovereignty, the universe bows. Celine became a legend, not because she found treasure, but because she remembered her throne. Villagers spoke of her presence, calm, magnetic, unshakable. She needed no riches to prove her power, yet riches came in rivers, for she ruled not by force but by frequency. Tonight, close your eyes and imagine walking into your palace. See the frequency throne waiting. Approach without fear. Sit upon it. Feel the resonance flow through your body, filling every cell, every thought, every dream. Whisper, "I am sovereign. I am seated. I am wealth itself." Fall asleep upon the throne and wake as ruler of your reality, for this is the final truth. You do not chase wealth. You do not beg for abundance. You sit upon your frequency, and the world rises to serve. Chapter 34. The Eternal Flame of Wealth Consciousness. In a quiet desert cave lived an old mystic known only as the Keeper. People whispered that he guarded a flame that had never gone out, a fire said to have been lit at the dawn of creation. Travelers seeking fortune, power, and eternal youth journeyed across scorching sands to see it. Many arrived with treasures, hoping to barter for its light, but the Keeper only smiled and said, "The flame cannot be bought. It can only be remembered." One weary pilgrim named Jorah arrived after losing everything in war. He knelt before the Keeper and begged, "Please, let me take your fire so I may rebuild my life." The Keeper guided him into the cave, where the flame danced softly upon a golden altar. Its glow was steady, unyielding, untouched by wind or time. "This," the Keeper said, "is the flame of wealth consciousness. It does not burn wood, nor oil, nor stone. It burns the truth within all of us. When you remember this flame in your own heart, you never fear loss again." Jorah did not understand. "But I have no wealth left," he said. The Keeper touched his chest. "Then you have forgotten the flame within you. Wealth is not in coins. Wealth is in consciousness. Consciousness creates coins, just as this flame creates light. If you honor the flame, wealth never leaves, for it is you." Jorah spent many nights in the cave, watching the fire, meditating upon its glow. Slowly he began to feel a warmth in his chest, as though a similar flame stirred inside him. He whispered, "I am not empty. I am not broken. I am the flame." When he left the cave, the world around him shifted. Opportunities rose from dust. Fortunes returned, not because the Keeper gave him the flame, but because Jorah had remembered his own. So it is with you. Wealth is not outside. Wealth is not numbers. Wealth is the eternal flame inside your consciousness. When you forget it, you wander in darkness. When you remember it, the world illuminates. The secret is not to chase fire in others, but to tend the flame within. Every morning, pause and imagine a golden light burning in your chest. Whisper, "This flame never dies. This flame is wealth itself. This flame is me." Feel it grow, filling your body, spilling into the space around you. Carry that flame through your day, and watch how people, opportunities, and resources are drawn to your glow. The Keeper still waits in his cave for travelers, but he never gives them the flame because he cannot. The flame cannot be given. It can only be remembered, and once remembered, it can never again be forgotten. Tonight, before sleep, close your eyes. See the eternal flame flickering within you. Whisper, "I am the flame. I am the source. I am eternal wealth." Let that fire burn through your dreams, igniting a tomorrow where abundance is inevitable. Chapter 35. The Crown of Inevitability. In the golden capital of an empire long forgotten, kings and queens were crowned beneath towering arches of marble. Their crowns were forged of jewels and gold, symbols of power bestowed by priests and nobles. Yet the wealthiest sovereign of all was not remembered for his crown of metal, but for something greater, what the chronicles called the Crown of Inevitability. His name was Kaelin, a prince mocked by rivals as weak and unworthy. He wore no armor of brilliance, and his treasury was meager, but Kaelin carried something invisible, an unshakable certainty that he was chosen. He walked through markets as though they belonged to him, not in arrogance, but in quiet knowing. He spoke of his visions as though they were already carved into reality, and people believed because he believed. One day, when his enemies conspired to overthrow him, Kaelin stood before the people with empty hands. No soldiers, no wealth, no crown. He simply declared, "I am your sovereign, not because of what I hold, but because of what I am. I am inevitability itself. My rule is not chance, it is truth." And as he spoke, something shifted. The crowd bowed, not to gold or jewels, but to the frequency of his certainty. He wore no visible crown, yet all saw it. From that day forward, his reign was prosperous beyond measure. This is the final secret of wealth: inevitability. To wear the crown of inevitability is to stop asking if and start declaring when. It is to know in your bones that abundance does not maybe belong to you, it must belong to you. For inevitability is the frequency of kings, queens, and billionaires. The universe bends to those who radiate it. You, too, must claim your crown, not one crafted of stone, but one forged of consciousness. Each time you hesitate, you drop it. Each time you apologize for your worth, you misplace it. But each time you declare, I am inevitable. My wealth is certain. My dreams are truth. You place it firmly upon your head, and the world responds. Do not wait for evidence. Evidence comes after the crown. Do not wait for wealth to prove your worth. Worth comes before wealth. Stand tall in inevitability and watch as life bends. Kalen's enemies never understood why their plots failed. They could not comprehend that inevitability itself is armor. You cannot destroy what is already destined. You cannot block what is already written in frequency. His wealth and power grew because he never doubted the outcome. Tonight, before you sleep, imagine a golden crown descending upon your head. It glows not with jewels, but with the light of certainty. Whisper, I am inevitable. My wealth is inevitable. My destiny is sealed. Let those words echo into the night. When you wake, walk as though crowned, move as though inevitable, act as though already fulfilled. For the universe does not serve those who beg, it serves those who reign. And your reign begins the moment you wear the crown of inevitability. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now.